Hey guys, PainUser here again with my friend Syckness, and we have a pretty cool set of replays for you guys today. We're going to be casting several games from Liquid Haypro. He's going to be playing coming up in March in Code A along with Huck, and we found some pretty good replays of him with a lot of really neat stuff on his end and his opponents. So yeah, we're going to be doing a couple games of Haypro this week and highlighting a lot of his unique play and stuff that he does. So hope you guys like him.
Yeah, Haypro's been impressing me as a Zerg player lately. He's just pulling out good strats and good micro, good control overall of his units.
So this first game is ZVZ between him and some random Korean Zerg with a name that I cannot pronounce. And I believe it's on the Korean BattleNet server. So this is kind of nice because a lot of times it's really hard to come by pro Korean reps because obviously GSL doesn't release any of the replays of their games. And then a lot of the Korean players probably don't release their replays because they don't want people to see them. So I think Haypro might have uploaded this. But anyway, without further ado, the blue Zerg busted out a 10 pool right off the bat on Zelnaga. And he's trying to get in some early pressure and maybe force his opponent to make a crap ton of lings and not drones. And then try and get a little bit of an economic edge that way.
Yeah, he's just trying to put on the early pressure with these lings, trying to make Haypro overcompensate with Army. And since he's going to be put on the pressure, Haypro really has no way of telling how much Army he's building back in his base, so he's going to have to play a little safe here. So I kind of like the opening from the blue Zerg. We'll see how it works out for him, though.
One thing that's really interesting about this game is if you look at the harvester count right now, Haypro is up 15 to 10. There are, however, 8 lings on the way to his base right now. And he just started producing his lings and his queen. But I'm going to keep the income tab open for a little while, and you can watch how things pan out after this rush and after all the combat is said and done. So right now he sees these lings come into his base, pulls all of his drones, micros really well, the lings pop out at the exact same time. And he's able to thwart that without really losing anything. I don't think he lost a single drone. And that's really the best way to deal with something like this.
Yeah, I think he lost only one, and so he's playing good defense now, but still he doesn't know what the blue Zerg is doing. He doesn't know if he's pumping more units, he's trying to get ahead on the drone count. So now the harvesters are even, so it looks like the rush paid off as of now. He's mining gas too already, so it's looking pretty even here. He gets 2 queens out. He's gonna snipe this overlord too, which is really nice. I like the double queen. You can get the early creep spread coming out quick, and now he's 4 drones ahead because Haypro just doesn't know what's going on right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You'd think that a 10 pool would actually put him behind, especially if it failed, but it just gives you the opportunity to get in your opponent's base, put some pressure on early, and these 2 queens are also great for defense. They can be used as defensive units against small packs of lings like this, and they're fine. So now Haypro is dropping a quick expansion as a result of this, which is probably a good idea because he made all those lings, and he probably assumes he got inside of our Korean Zerg's base, and he probably assumes that he's making, or knows actually, probably got a count on the drones and knows that he made a bunch of drones, so he's going to try and catch up and compensate by dropping a quick expansion. And he also drops a Roach Warren. I don't know if that was the best idea at this point in the game, because the Korean Zerg has a Baneling nest up, and he's pumping out a ton of Zerglings right now, and Zergling speed is about to finish.
Those Banelings are going to be pretty key right now. So it's Ling Baneling against Ling Roach, and if it's a straight up fight, the Ling Roach should be able to handle that pretty well. But Haypro's just starting to make roaches now, so he's gonna take a lot of hurt from this early attack, which is a good follow up from the blue Zerg right here.
Yeah, I think it was really smart to make a ton of speedlings, and the banelings I don't think really helped that much in this situation here, but they could have probably been devastating had Haypro not been all over the micro. Looks like Haypro's lost his natural expansion, which really hurts. But he's actually able to recover a little bit and save that queen with a cute little bit of micro right there and fends off this attack, but at what cost? I mean, he lost his expansion. He was forced to make a ton of units. But then again, the Korean Zerg doesn't have an expansion either, and he's just getting his Roach Warren right now, and he's also dropping a Spine Crawl at the front. He's a little bit unsure of whether or not Haypro is going to push and be aggressive right here.
Well, it's hard to be aggressive with the roaches on hatch tech, but even still, there's always a possibility of just a one-base roach all in, which can be pretty devastating. But it looks like he's getting a decent little amount of scout in there, and I think they should be about even on income now. Yeah, it's just one drone difference, so they're both pretty even. Haypro has played good defense so far, and he's tried to drop the Expo again, but he got denied again by the Speedlings. If you go Speedlings against Roaches, you're going to have map control, so that's a big thing right now that Blue does have.
Yeah, he's really been on top of Haypro's natural the entire game, just harassing it. He killed that hatchery. He has full map control. He has both Zelnaga towers. And he has these lings just floating around the outside of the natural, poking in, getting scouting information, checking his army size. And really, Haypro's kind of playing in the dark right now. He doesn't really know what's going on. That's why he's sending this ling in right here to scout and see what's up. But Korean Zerg's pulling ahead a little bit in Harvesters, and that's kind of a big deal in ZVZ. I mean, every drone really counts. If you watch any high-level ZVZs, the amount of drones is really important. You can tell which player's ahead just by a few drones, and that can be the difference between a game. I've seen a lot of games where one guy is ahead by 3 or 4 drones, and he can just pump a couple extra units, and that just makes his push that much stronger, and he can win.
Yeah, that's very true. Because mostly early lings with speed into roaches is pretty much standard nowadays for the metagame of Zerg, and both of these guys are waiting a while to get their layer tech. They're getting their expos up first. They don't need layer tech very fast, but it looks like it's going to turn into a roach-based army for a while here.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this part just a little bit because there's really just not a lot going on right now. Both players scouting around with their lings, trying to figure out what the other player's up to, what's going on. Really nothing too exciting right now, but in the Econ tab, Haypro is pulling ahead. He has his roaches in a real defensive position. He has quite a few more drones at this point. And both players are just content to sit macro back. Our Korean player really just starting to saturate his natural with drones. Waited a really long time to do that. I feel like as long as he had this pack of speedlings out on the field, he could have done quite a bit of drone pumping. He really had no reason not to feel safe, but it's always safe just to produce army in Zerg vs. Zerg. It's such a volatile matchup. You can lose so easily by making too many drones, so I can understand that.
Yeah, you never really know when you're going to get pushed in ZVZ. You can hide half your army a lot of times in your base and make it look like you don't have much, but in reality you do. And I like the early infestors here. A lot of people are either going to be going quick hydras with roaches, or this is the alternative here. It's infestors and roaches. And if you get good fungals off with infestors, you can really do a lot of work against clumps of roaches as far as microing and then backing off a little bit once you land a nice fungal, trying to get a nice spread. But we'll see how Haypro uses his infestors this game. It's really interesting.
The Korean Zerg is opting to go for double upgrades with 2 Evo chambers, and he's also getting the infestor energy upgrade before he makes any infestors. I really like this. Hater, on the other hand, is going for, he's getting Burrow, and he already has some infestors out. He doesn't have the energy upgrade, but his infestors are starting to stockpile energy very early on in the game, and he's also clearing out the rocks so he can take his third, get a quick gold, and maybe take a little bit of an economic lead. One thing that I really like is that he's getting that burrowed movement, and he'll be able to use his infestors to that effect really well, so I like that. And he's building up a lot more energy on his infestors. than the Korean Zerg. The Korean Zerg just popped out both his infestors, but they do come out with enough to fungal right off the bat. And let's actually check. They're at 80 right off the bat. So Haypro's infestors are up by like 40 energy right now. So it doesn't really matter whatever your preference is on getting the upgrade before or after you start making infestors. But Haypros do have more energy. And you're probably not going to be making too many more infestors in a ZVZ. So I don't know if the upgrade is actually really warranted. It's 150, 150. Takes 80 seconds to research. It's pretty expensive. And you're only going to get a really small number of infestors anyway. So I'm not sure whether or not it's completely necessary.
Yeah, the infestors are pretty gas heavy. But if you do get the upgrade, you can start building your infestors when it's about halfway done, and they'll pop out with 75 still. So it's just good timing to know. And it looks like Haypro's just sending his infestors around the back to try to do some harass. And it looks like, I mean, if the blue Zerg doesn't catch this, it can be deadly. So it can just win you a game. It can kill enough drones to where he has to all in you, and if you defend that, you can just win. But we'll see what he does here.
This is really sneaky. I really like this play from Haypro. This is not something you see every day in a Zerg vs. Zerg, and he's splitting the infestors, sending 2 to the natural, 1 to the main, and just kind of hanging out here for a little bit. What I would love to see out of him is a real quick fungal on 2 different sections of the mineral line, and with this single infestor, he could just fungal this huge pack right here, and then fungal again, and they would all die, and then fungal these 2 spots again, and they would all die.
That's really the optimal way to use your infestors here. He's gonna actually throw out some infested Terrans, but they're gonna deny him from using those spots to mine for a while. But I think it's better to kill drones, especially when they're that dense and that potent.
Yeah, absolutely, and he drops a bunch of infested Terrans here, but the Korean Zerg pulls all of his drones, so he has infested Terrans at each base. He does manage to get a queen here at the main, but it's not really a big deal. Gets a couple drone kills and prevents mining. Meanwhile, Hater tries to push right up through the middle towards the gold and gets kind of trapped with a few really good fungals here. And it's a good fungal. He loses a ton of units, but I think these Hydras are going to DPS their way out of that situation.
So the thing is right there though, he only used the fungal for DPS. He didn't really use it with the root because he rooted them, but then he just kept attacking that big ball. He didn't force any of those roaches to be out of combat by pulling back a little bit, and then and here's another battle though. He's just still using the blue Zerg is just using his fungals. He's suiciding those infestors. It's kind of poor play right there. That little misstep in micro. And meanwhile, he still has these infestors in the back of the mineral line. He's not mining from either base right now. So Hater, even though he didn't kill so many drones, he's denying him from mining there, and it looks like the blue Zerg is gonna have to start pumping Zerglings because he has no gas. He's just mining from his gold right now, and that's it. So the infested burrow play is definitely paying off for Haypro.
Yeah, it's actually working wonders because he's still not mining gas off either base, and all Haypro really has to do is hold off this kind of last ditch assault right here, and he's sitting real pretty to win this game. But I don't know, we'll see if he can do that. He's forced to pull several of his drones right there. They're actually just about dead even on drones, but the thing that's absolutely killing the Korean Zerg is that, a bunch of drones just instantly died.
Yeah, I had to
there.
pull a lot of drones to defend that.
Yep, had to pull like more than half to defend that. But pulling his infestors now to the gold, and one thing you could do in this situation, Haypro pulls his infestors in here and he doesn't really know what to do with them, but you could drop infested Terrans on the low ground outside the range of the spine crawler, and then sight the high ground with both of your infestors here. Just leave them kind of chilling right here. And that can also deny mining the gold for quite a while and force him to send all of his lings around the back, and then you can try and push in through the front with your army and get a really good position right here. But he's kind of content to just roam around with his infestors, save their energy, and he actually gets great usage out of them right here in this battle.
Yeah, they almost one-shot Zerglings right there, so he's getting them all down super low. You just can't really go Zerglings if they have infestors on the gear. They just pretty much get nullified, and it looks like this is going to be it right here.
Yeah, Hater pushing through with a really big army here at the end. All that economic damage that he did that really put him ahead, forced the other Zerg to stop mining for such a long time. And that really cute Infestor play, I think, is kind of what won him the game right there. He was thinking outside the box, and he used Infestors very well in a ZVZ, which is a matchup where you don't really see a lot of Infestor play like that.
Yeah, he definitely... I think the blue Zerg was actually up in Harvesters for a while, and then he was only really able to get an advantage by using those Infestors, so that was some nice play right there.
All right, that does it for game 1, and we'll catch you later.